Welcome to Keep On Castin. We're in Sun City, Kansas. It's the middle of the rut, and we're looking forward to some great whitetail hunting. Stay tuned. So yesterday morning, we got up at 2 in the morning to make the plane flight for 6. Arrived here, everything went smooth, got a rental car, drove out here to beautiful Sun City, but we got here on time. Looking forward to a great deer hunt. So we're driving into Buster's. We're about 2 miles out from the camp, and we look out and we see a doe standing right there in a little patch of bushes. Usually this time of the year, if you see a doe, you start looking for a buck. That doe was kind of hemmed in there and started moving around, and next thing you know, a buck popped out. So a lot of times in Louisiana, because we have so much cover, we don't actually get to see bucks chasing does as much. Up here, it's a common thing this time, and those bucks will hem those does up. They actually stand over the doe, watching that doe. That's their girlfriend. They're not gonna leave it. They don't eat, they don't sleep. They watch that doe till she's ready to breed.
A lot of times they watch the doe more than they watch what the doe's looking at. Whatever she does, he's coming on a rope with her. He's right behind her. And that's something you can use in the stand as well, as many hunters know. But does coming in this time of year, be ready, because there could very easily be something behind her.
Say we have a dry summer, we do have a lot of irrigated ground north of here. I'm sure they move up to in the irrigated corn and soybeans. And then once the circles are harvested, then they move back south a little ways, and that's right where a lot of my hunting property's at. In a dry year, they still have plenty of food, which helps. This year we had about double a rainfall that we normally have, so we're in an area where we have a mixture of short grass and tall grass. And the grass did very well this year, and so the deer could be about anywhere, really.
So staying here at Buster's Outfitters, this is my 4th year to come out here, and I started bringing little Bo after the first year. It's a great atmosphere out here, and it's great quality family time.
We're sitting in front of a 2-story brick bank building that was built in 1906. The bottom was built for a banker from Missouri, and then the top floor was a Oddfellows hall. And on the front of the building, you have the IOOF and the bank. At that time, Sun City, there was 1,500 people in this town, and today there's about 30. The bank was in business for a short time too. Owner finally called it good. I think the first depression got the bank in the 19-teens sometime. And so the bank was kind of short-lived. But the building's still standing and standing for another 100 years from now. I've been outfitting here for 20 years, lived here my whole life. I've been chasing these deer around most of my life. My operation to this day is what I would call a mom and pop operation, and that's the way I like it. My family helps me run it. 2 of my best buddies that are actually out-of-state fishing guides in the summertime, Jimbo and Brandon, have been guiding for me for numerous years. And the camp is basically a mom and pop camp, and I believe that that's why we have why I have a waiting list to this day, people wanting to come and hunt here. We have big deer, beautiful scenery. A lodge has got a lot of character to it, you know, but I couldn't do this without my guides and my family helping me.
I've been here, I think this is my 16th year. I've been working for Rick at Buster's Outfitters. We've had some really, really good years. We've had some slow years. We've killed some giants. We've killed some small deer, but they all been good. You know, as long as our customers are happy, we really want everybody to get a deer. That's the goal. And most of the time we can do that. I love fishing, but this up here, hunting these whitetails, is kind of my passion.
My biggest attraction for this area, of course, is the whitetails, because we have very big whitetails here. I've been chasing these things around most of my life. In the last 20 years, I've been outfitting, and when I first started, most of my whitetail hunters were rifle hunters. And I was a bow hunter, and I tried to evolve into bow hunting, and slowly I did. And I think the whole unit has also, but now I have a lot more interest in bow hunters than I do rifle hunters. And so it's worked out very well. Now we do both, but again, the biggest draw I have is whitetail bow hunters in the fall. Now we do have, our turkey here are pure Rios. They're not crossed or anything. And so that's attraction to a lot of the turkey hunters, because they want a pure Rio Grande. It's mostly a spring hunt, a call hunt, but there is a fall hunt too. And so I do have bow hunters that come in here to hunt whitetails, and we can also hunt turkey while they're here.
Keep On Casting is sponsored by the Prop Shop. We are more than just props. Spider wire. Nothing gets away. Berkeley. Catch more fish. So we got to the lodge, met Rick, Jimbo, and Brandon, and we decided we're going to go out the first day, the first afternoon. So we got all our stuff together, headed out. They put us in a nice blind, looked like a hay bale. It's really just like a pop-up blind. It's great. It's really it's an awesome blind, but the downfall, you can move a lot, but you don't have a lot of visibility. You can keep one side of the windows open, but you got to keep the other ones almost closed or with just one little crack. So we elected to keep the wheat field side open. I had a little crack. Gary had a little bit bigger crack for the camera. And we kept the other side almost closed. But every now and then we'd have to peek out the back side, and we'd see an 8-point. We'd see a 6-point, see another 8-point. And the deer were just, they are moving right now. They're really hard on the does. They probably bred about 50% of the does, so that other 50%, they're getting a little thinned out. Those bucks are having to move around, and we're seeing a lot more bucks and deer moving. So to hunt deer in Kansas, you need a buck tag, and it's actually a lottery that we apply for in April. And at the end of the month, they let you know if you won the lottery, and if you do, it's approximately $400 that goes to your credit card, and if you're in, then you get to hunt bucks. The other rule at Buster's is if you shoot one or you wound one, then you actually want to hunt that stand the next day and try and kill that wounded deer. We're sitting in there, looking. All of a sudden, deer pop out. They had a bunch in the back corner that were moving the whole time. And we're watching 2 or 3 bucks chasing does, and they're moving, chasing them one way, chasing them another day. Compared to Louisiana, the difference about Kansas is there's a lot less hunting pressure on these deer up here. These deer actually get to get out and act like deer are supposed to act. Most of the places I hunt, you can see 30, 40, 50 feet, maybe 120 feet if you clear out an area, but we have a lot of cover down there. So these deer, they probably do that, but they do that at night, or they do that in cover that you can't see. It's really neat to come up here to Kansas. Once again, there's not a lot of hunting pressure. They have a very short rifle season, and other than that, just an archery season, and you get to see deer in their natural habitat. Well, this big buck pops out, and they get closer and closer and closer. Finally, he gets within 40, 45 yards, and I'm like, I gotta take a shot. So it's a nice 8-point. Got the bow up, got it ready. Pow! So one thing I wanted to say about these deer are they're incredible animals. I was shooting a Raven crossbow which shoots 415 feet per second at about 45 yards, and that deer was able to drop 6 inches within that short period of time. As you can see the arrow going and the deer going down. Like I said, my shot was a little bit high, but if it had been a little closer, it'd have been a done deal. He was able to drop that much. That arrow went into no man's land, no deer. Keep On Castin Cooking is brought to you by Rouse's. Fresh food, fresh daily.
Hi, welcome to Rouse's Test Kitchen here on Keep On Castin. I'm Chef Marc Ardoin. Today we're going to show you guys how to do stuffed shells. It's a very popular dish. I know my mom used to make it all the time. We used to love it. Get a little bit of a different spin on it though. So, got a skillet, getting it hot. We're using our Rouse's Novello olive oil. You can only get it here. It's imported from Italy. It's one of the first pressings of the olive oil for the season. So it's got a really nice spicy flavor to it with a real deep green color. So we're gonna get a little bit in our pan, get it hot. We're gonna add our vegetables. This is gonna make the stuffing. So we've got diced white onion. Now it might look like there's a lot of vegetables going in here, but this is gonna cook down really nicely. Red bell pepper, and a little bit of diced carrot as well. That diced carrot is gonna add some real nice sweetness to the dish. We're gonna saute this down. We wanna get some nice deep colors on this. So we're gonna put this over a medium heat. We're gonna let this cook for a good 15 to 20 minutes so that way it can get really caramelized down, really build some flavors on the inside of that stuffing. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. All right, so we're starting to get color on our vegetables. As you can see in the pan here, you can see that the sugars are really starting to caramelize, and that's what that is whenever you see your vegetables browning off. A little trick that we use in restaurants in the kitchens to be able to help redistribute that is deglazing the pan. So you can use a little bit of white wine. I've just got a little bit of water here. It works just as easy. So we're just gonna pour a little bit in the bottom of the pan. And we're gonna stir that around. And what that'll do is that'll loosen up all those sugars and redistribute all of that onto the rest of the vegetables so they'll caramelize a little bit more evenly. But water cooks out real quick too, so it doesn't take a lot. We're gonna add our chopped garlic. We don't add that in too early because you don't want that to get too bitter. We're gonna saute that off for a few seconds, and then we're gonna mix that in with the rest of our stuffing that we've got prepped and ready to go. I'm gonna take this pan, I'm gonna get it in our bowl where we have some pulled rotisserie chicken that we've taken off of one of our colossal rotisserie chickens that we now sell at all the Rouse's markets. Larger rotisserie chicken than what we normally serve. And definitely feed a family of 5 to 6 on this thing. Set that aside. So now we've got our vegetables, we've got our pulled rotisserie chicken that we shredded, we've got some fresh spinach. I've got 2 eggs that we whipped right here. We're gonna add some ricotta cheese to that. And we're gonna mix that in. We're gonna consider this our wet ingredients to this. That's gonna help everything bind together. We're just gonna mix that together real quick. We're gonna get that in the bowl with the rest of our ingredients. Here we've got a blend of mozzarella, provolone, Asiago cheese. We're just gonna put about half into the mix. We want to save the other half at the top of the casserole after it's done. We're gonna mix this together to make our stuffing. This is a dry stuffing. We're gonna top it with a little bit of marinara. The heat from the vegetables will help wilt that spinach a little bit, but then we're gonna bake this in the oven. That will finish cooking this off. Now it's not gonna take that long because we do have raw egg in here. We are gonna have to cook this to an internal temperature of 165 degrees to make sure that that egg is fully cooked, but it's not gonna take very long. And with the different cheeses that we have in here, we definitely don't need to add any extra salt to this. It's gonna have enough salt from the rotisserie chicken and from the cheeses that it'll make a great stuffing. So we've got some of our large shells that we got. It's the Da Vinci brand that we sell in Rouse's, imported from Italy. Some really large shells. They make a great stuffing item. You can see they're pretty pliable once they're cooked. You are gonna bake them, so If they're a little al dente, it's not a big deal. You're gonna finish it in the oven, but they pull open really nice and wide, so that's what makes them great for stuffing. So we're gonna take the stuffing, hold it open with our fingers, get that right in there like that, and you wanna tuck that end right in there and put that in your baking dish. Don't be scared to stuff them pretty full, but you don't wanna stuff them too much. And if you mix your stuffing right, you'll get a nice blend of the cheese and the peppers and the chicken and the spinach. Makes them real nice and pretty. So we're gonna go ahead and top it off with the sauce and the cheese. I'm using our Rouse's arrabbiata sauce, imported from Italy. It's got a nice red chili and cayenne flavor to it, so it's got a nice little spice to it that I really like. So we're gonna go ahead and put that right on top of the shells. You can be as generous or as stingy as you like. Again, the stuffing is not a wet stuffing, so having a good bit of sauce on top works really, really well. The rest of the shredded cheeses that we had that we put inside the stuffing, get that nice on top. And then fresh herbs. So what we did is we chopped up some fresh basil, some flat leaf Italian parsley, and some fresh oregano. I like putting these on top. Adds a really nice herby flavor when you get that first bite in your mouth. Plus, look how pretty that is. I mean, that just adds so much color to the dish. We're gonna pop this in the oven, 425 degrees for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. It's gonna be great, so let's get that in. So we made one earlier, so we could show you exactly what it is. Here's your finished product. You can see that cheese got nice and golden brown. I'm gonna throw a little bit more of that grated Parmesan on top. And since we have some fresh herbs left over, we're just gonna throw a little bit more on top of there. That oregano and basil is really gonna come out. So we just took our shells out of the oven. They're nice and hot, so we let them rest on the counter for about 5 minutes before we serve. Let's go ahead and dig in. Oh, look at that pull on that cheese. We're gonna try some of this. Got a great spice from the arrabbiata sauce. Really get that fresh oregano and basil. The pulled chicken works really good in here. This is a great dish. Try this at home when you're looking for something really nice and comfortable on a cold day. It's a great item. Thanks for coming in.
Closed captioning provided by Humdinger Lures, the bass catchingest lures on the planet.
The hunt's over. We had a nice hunt yesterday evening, stuck a big 8-point. We waited because we didn't have good blood, waited till the next morning. We came out, we brought Luna. She's the trailing dog. We got Brandon, Jimbo, Little Bo, and Nick here. We're gonna go out and see if we can find that deer.
This is Luna. She's a blue lacy. She's 3 years old, and she's probably retrieved over the years, about 10 or 12 deer for us. Several of them we've never gotten without her. And hopefully this is gonna be one of them. We saw where Bo hit the deer. It's a little high, so this could be a challenge, but hopefully we'll find it. About right in here?
Right in here.
You say it went?
There's a fletching, it went this way.
It went up between them two trees right there?
I think it jumped on this side.
On this side of the tree?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, let's see what we can find.
There's a fletching. We marked that fletching with blood on it last night. So yesterday I made about a 45-yard shot. We saw this deer come over this way. He jumped the fence, but his tail was down. I don't know, the shot was a little bit high. Last night we were kind of disoriented when it got dark and we looked all in the corner, but this is where he crossed the fence. Jimbo's on him out there with the dog. We don't want to go mess him up.
Most of this land is just little ravines, little canyons. This is what they call grassland. There's a lot of hidey holes up in there. The bigger deer, they use these drains to hide in, to move in. They know where every low spot is in all these pastures along here. And they can get in them low spots and you'll never see them. You very rarely ever see them. But they like this because, like I say, no one ever goes in here really. And they feel safe. These little hilltops, these little knobs and stuff, a lot of times these bucks, when they get to really running these does hard, they'll use the hilltops, they'll run up on the hilltop and they'll be able to look down in the drains. And if they spot a doe, they're gone. It gives them a vantage point. And that's about the only time you're gonna see a big boy out where you can actually see him, is when he's looking for a doe, unless you're lucky enough to have him walk underneath your ladder. She got real anxious up there. There's an old pond up there. She got real anxious up there. And but we didn't find anything. Never found any blood.
No blood. Damn.
We could have gotten him up there though. Because she was getting real, jumping up, you know, she's wanting to go. I wouldn't let her go, but there's so many trails up there.
Yeah.
Did y'all look along the fence here?
Yeah. We'll look some more.
This is a big pasture. It's about 600 acres here. And most of this is a sanctuary. We don't go in here. There's a lot of cedars, as you can see, tall grass. There's no cattle in here. They pretty much just stay in this area, and then they use this wheat field as their food source and alfalfa. He may have been hit just enough to lay down. We didn't find any blood. And hopefully he'll make it, and maybe Bo will get another shot at him tonight.
So as always, we want to thank our active military and our veterans. We had a great time here at Buster's Outfitters. We saw great whitetail deer, had a nice shot at a good 8-point. The hunt's not over, but stay tuned till next week when little Bo goes to the high fenced area. And until next time, keep on casting.
So Boudreaux and Marie, they sitting around one night. Boudreaux gets up, he says, Marie, I need to go to the store. You need anything? She says, yeah, just get me some vanilla ice cream, some chocolate syrup. She said, you better write that down, Boudreaux. Boudreaux says, Marie, I got this. No, you better write it down. And they argue, and he goes out the door. Boudreaux comes back, throws a cheeseburger in Marie's lap. She looks at Boudreaux and says, I told you I didn't want no cheese.
Quand j'ai envie d'un bon boisson, la bonne musique pour plaisir de l'esprit. Mais quand je me sens paré, je connais ailleurs je peux aller pour boire un coup avec tous mes amis. J'suis gonna la Moon, c'est le club d'être à Lafayette. J'suis gonna la Moon. She gonna love you. C'est beau danser avec tous les jolies filles. She gonna love you. She gonna love you. Danse avec les filles, oui c'est juste pour m'amuser.